Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to today's English listening lesson. Today, we are going to tune our ears to a highly important topic: garbage, recycling, and how we can look after our environment. It's great to have you all here, so let's get started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's English lesson. Today, we are going to talk about garbage, recycling, waste, pollution, and the environment. This is a topic that affects everyone because every person produces some kind of waste every single day. We throw away food packaging, old clothes, broken things, paper, plastic bottles, and many other objects. Sometimes we don't think about what happens after we put something in the trash. We simply throw it away and forget about it. However, garbage does not disappear. Many things stay in the environment for many years and can create serious problems. In this lesson, we will learn some useful vocabulary connected with garbage and pollution. Then we will have a natural conversation about everyday situations, recycling, littering, and possible solutions to the world's garbage problem.
That sounds like a very interesting topic. I think many people understand that pollution is a problem, but they don't always think about their own habits. Small things that we do every day can have a big effect on the environment. For example, if one person throws away a plastic bottle, it may not seem like a big problem. But if millions of people do the same thing every day, the amount of waste becomes enormous. I think learning about this topic is important because we can all make better choices. We don't have to change everything immediately, but we can start with simple actions like recycling, using less plastic, and wasting less food.
Exactly. Small changes can create big results. So let's begin with some important words. The first word is waste. Waste. It means something that is not needed or wanted anymore. We use this word when we talk about things that people throw away because they think they are useless. For example, we should recycle waste instead of throwing it away. This sentence means that we should try to use old materials again instead of putting them in the garbage. Things like paper, glass, plastic, and metal can often be recycled and used again.
I completely agree. Recycling waste instead of throwing it away is one of the easiest ways to help the environment. Many people think recycling is difficult, but actually, it is a simple habit. At home, we can separate different types of garbage and put them into the correct bins. It only takes a little extra time, but it can reduce the amount of waste that goes to landfills. I also think people should buy fewer unnecessary things. Sometimes we buy something, use it only once or twice, and then throw it away. We should think more carefully before buying new products.
That's a very good point. Another example sentence is, food waste is a big problem in many countries. This means that many people throw away food even though it could still be eaten. Food waste is a serious problem because producing food requires a lot of water, energy, and natural resources. When we throw food away, we also waste everything that was used to produce it. We can reduce food waste by planning our shopping, keeping leftovers, and buying only the amount of food we really need.
That's true. Many people buy too much food because they don't plan their shopping. Then some products stay in the fridge for too long, and finally, they go into the trash. I think a good idea is to make a shopping list before going to the supermarket. It helps us buy only the things we need. Another good habit is using leftovers. For example, if we have some vegetables from dinner, we can use them the next day and create another meal. Reducing food waste is good for the environment and also good for our wallets because we save money.
The second important word is pollutant. A pollutant is a noun. It means a harmful substance that causes pollution. Pollutants can damage nature, animals, and people's health. There are many different pollutants. They can come from factories, cars, airplanes, and other sources. For example, smoke from factories is a dangerous pollutant. This means that smoke from factories can make the air dirty and unhealthy.
Yes, it can be very harmful to people and nature. Factory smoke can make the air dirty and cause health problems. People who live near heavily polluted areas can have problems with breathing. I think factories are necessary because they create products and jobs, but companies should also think about the environment. They should use cleaner technology and try to reduce pollution. We all need clean air to live a healthy life. It is important that businesses, governments, and normal people work together.
Another example is cars produce pollutants that pollute the air. Cars are useful because they help us travel, but too many cars create pollution. Using public transport, walking, cycling, or sharing a car with other people can help reduce the number of pollutants in the air.
I agree. In many cities, traffic is a big problem. During busy hours, there are thousands of cars on the roads, and they produce a lot of pollution. When people have good alternatives, they are more likely to leave their cars at home.
The next word is carrier. A carrier is a person who has an infection but does not suffer from the disease or show symptoms. A carrier can spread a disease without feeling sick. For example, a carrier can spread a disease without feeling sick. This means that someone may have a virus or infection and unknowingly pass it to another person.
That's interesting, because sometimes people don't know they are carrying an infection. This is why health and hygiene are so important. Simple actions like washing hands, covering your mouth when coughing, and staying home when you are sick can help protect other people. I think this example also shows that our actions can affect others. Sometimes we don't see a problem, but it can still exist.
Great! We have learned 3 important words today: waste, pollutant, and carrier. In the next part, we will talk about landfills, dumpsters, recycling, and then we will move to questions about garbage in everyday life.
The next word is landfill. A landfill is a noun. It means a place where rubbish is buried underground. When people throw away garbage, it often goes to a landfill. The problem is that landfills can become very large and take a lot of space. Many things that we throw away do not disappear quickly. Plastic, for example, can stay in the environment for hundreds of years. Listen to the example. Most of the city's rubbish goes to a landfill. This means that most garbage produced by people in the city is transported to a place where it is stored underground.
I think landfills are one of the biggest problems connected with garbage. Of course, we need places where we can put waste, but the amount of garbage we produce is growing every year. Sometimes people throw away things that could still be used. Old clothes, furniture, electronics, and many other objects could be repaired, donated, or recycled instead of going to a landfill. I think the best solution is not only building more landfills, but creating less waste. If we produce less garbage, we don't need as much space for it.
Another example is, we should recycle more to reduce the amount of waste in landfills. This sentence means that recycling can help us send less garbage to landfills. When we recycle paper, glass, plastic, and metal, these materials can be used again instead of becoming waste.
Yes, recycling can really help with this problem. I think many people don't realize how much garbage they produce. For example, one family can throw away many plastic bottles, food packages, and other items every week. Now imagine millions of families doing the same thing. That is why recycling is important. It reduces waste and helps us use resources more responsibly.
The next word is dumpster. A dumpster is a noun. It means a large metal container where people put garbage or building waste. You can usually see dumpsters behind buildings, restaurants, shops, or construction areas. For example, he threw the old chair into the dumpster. This means that he put an old chair into a large garbage container.
Yes, dumpsters are very common in cities. They are useful because they keep garbage in one place and make it easier to collect. However, people should use dumpsters correctly. Sometimes people leave old furniture, bags, or rubbish next to a dumpster instead of putting it inside. This creates a dirty environment and can attract animals. I think everyone should remember that public spaces belong to all of us, so we should keep them clean.
Another example is, the dumpster behind the building was full of rubbish inside, and there was no more space.
I have seen situations like that before. Sometimes after holidays or big events, dumpsters become full very quickly. I think cities should make sure there are enough garbage containers in places where many people live. Good organization can help prevent streets from becoming dirty.
The last vocabulary word is recycling. Recycling is a noun. It means the process of collecting and changing old materials like paper, glass, and plastic so they can be used again. Recycling helps reduce waste and protects natural resources. For example, recycling helps protect the environment. This means that recycling is one way to take care of our planet. I think recycling is one of the easiest things people can do to help the environment. Some people think that one person cannot make a difference, but I don't agree. If many people make small changes, the result can be very positive. For example, separating garbage at home, using reusable bags, and recycling bottles are simple actions. They don't require a lot of effort, but they can have a big impact. Another example is, our school encourages recycling paper and plastic. This means that the school wants students to recycle and teaches them how to protect the environment. Schools are a great place to learn good habits because children can share these ideas with their families.
That's true. Education is very important. When children learn about recycling when they are young, it becomes a normal part of their life. Sometimes people want to recycle, but they don't know which bin to use.
Let's talk about our everyday habits. What do you usually throw away? And are there things you hate throwing away?
I usually throw away food packaging, old papers, empty containers, and broken things that cannot be repaired. However, there are some things I really don't like throwing away. For example, I hate throwing away clothes and books. Clothes can often be donated to other people, and books can be sold or given to someone who wants to read them. I think we should always ask ourselves if something is really useless before we put it in the trash. Sometimes we throw away things that another person could still use.
Have you ever accidentally thrown something away?
Yes, I have. Once, I accidentally threw away my headphones with some papers. I didn't notice it at first, but later I realized they were missing. Luckily, I found them before the garbage was collected. Since then, I try to be more careful before throwing things away. Sometimes important objects can accidentally end up in the trash. How often is garbage collected where you live?
Garbage is collected once a week in my neighborhood. I think it is enough most of the time, but sometimes there is more garbage, especially after holidays or family events. Regular garbage collection is important because it keeps neighborhoods clean and prevents bad smells or problems with animals. What do you think about the amount of garbage you produce?
I think I throw away too much garbage sometimes. I try to recycle and reduce waste, but there are still many things that end up in the trash. I think everyone should think more about what they buy. If we buy fewer unnecessary products, we can create less waste. For me, the best idea is to follow 3 simple rules: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Are the streets clean in your town?
Yes, the streets are usually clean. Most people take care of their surroundings. However, sometimes there is garbage on the streets because some people litter. They leave bottles, food packages, or cigarette butts on the ground instead of using a garbage bin. I think this is unnecessary because there are usually garbage cans nearby. Keeping streets clean is everyone's responsibility. That was a lot of useful information. We talked about landfills, dumpsters, recycling, and our everyday habits with garbage. And that brings us to the end of today's listening lesson. We hope you enjoyed learning more about garbage, recycling, and how we can all help the planet.
That's right. Remember, every small green habit makes a huge difference. Thank you so much for listening and practicing your English with us today. Have a wonderful day, and see you next time.